Alright. I am Season 10. So, for those who are recent to my channel, I'm just going to play an old character. I don't really care what I do right now. For those who are new to my channel, you guys may not realize that I play other stuff besides Mortal Kombat, right? That's my, where a lot of new people are coming in from is all the MK content, videos, shorts, whatever. But I played Diablo, right? I play Diablo, I play, Last of Us occasionally on their no return mode. I do, play other stuff. And so, the, oh hey, welcome back, sir. Anyway, so Season 10 looks pretty good. So for one, we're getting Infernal Hordes revamped. It's pretty cool. We have like a baby Infernal Horde as well, so that just helps with the diversity for leveling. Getting a new boss for the Infernal Hordes, so he sounds kind of cool. The bosses in general, all the lair bosses, actually, I like this a lot. They're getting a pass so that the lair bosses, all of them, have invulnerability phases. But if you can DPS their shield or their barrier down fast enough, you skip the invulnerability phase. So the idea is, if your build is strong enough, which, let's be real, most builds will be, that you can just delete the boss regardless, right? But if you, sort of like a check of like, well, if you're strong enough to delete the boss, then you're good, right? If not, then you gotta deal with the slower invuln phases. And I like that balance. It sounds like more fair than, sitting there. Especially for blind people, like, I don't know when the invulnerability phases are. Like, the screen reader doesn't tell me, hey, invulnerable. There's no sound as far as I can tell. Granted, it's hard to tell when there's so much combat. Sorry. So every class has a multitude of these new Chaos Armors. The Chaos Armor idea is you take pre-existing uniques and you can essentially wear that on a different slot, where normally it would be like a unique amulet, but the Chaos Armor says, hey, it's a unique pants piece, right, or boots or whatever. This appears to only really be affecting damage based, or like uniques. So you'll get the unique. Let's say I don't know. Let's just pretend for the druid. I don't remember what the uniques are. Let's just pretend it's waxing gibbets, right? For shred, and you would get it, say, on your boots, and your boots would get the maximum roll of all the stats or whatever. But it would even get a little bit higher extra stats. I think it's like 20% or 50% more, or something like that. And so what essentially it does is it gives you an option of like, if I don't want to, if I find this item, especially with the greater affixes on it, then I can use this item in my boot slot instead of on my hand slot. And that opens it up for more multipliers or more damage, or, just more utility in general, right? So like right now, like if I had like the boot waxing gibbous, if it was, if that's actually it, and I could have a two-handed, or even a one-handed, and like add more attack speed, so I'm just attacking so much faster. It would be, it just allows more for more build options and variety. And on top of all that, we also of course have class balance changes and a patch and stuff. And so the classes, in general, they're being toned down, toned up, whatever, right? The new legendary powers and uniques all look relatively cool. I do think the Necromancer is coming out ahead of like the Necromancer, and the Sorcerer are like looking pretty cool. The Barb is looking pretty cool. Spiritborn, kinda, sure. I'm of course probably gonna be playing Druid as usual. Druid's my main class. I love the Shred. I love playing the Druid. Rogue looks like it's kind of just behind, right? I don't know if it really will be, right, once people get their hands on the season and find stuff and test it out. But I'm thinking Druid and Barb, like usual. Why not? I like both classes. They're my favorite classes in the game, so why not, right? And I'll play Shred again and again and again because Shred's my favorite thing. But Shred's getting buffed, so I'll take the buffs, right? And of course we'll see. We'll see what sort of changes we can make with the new slots, right? Like imagine if Hunter Zenith In fact, do I have Hunter Zenith on the script? Let me see. No. Yeah, see, waxing gibbous. See, like, if you know, say if you had a waxing, or not waxing, Hunter's Zenith, or you know, Yen's Blessing. You know, I like just the idea of like just changing uniques to whatever slot you want. Maybe it's maybe not as free as I'm thinking, but it does sound very cool, and I like the idea of that you have actual like theory crafting, and like people are coming up with ideas of like, oh, what about this build? What about that build? Like, there are people actually thinking of their builds instead of, you know, just mindlessly putting on the best stuff or the whatever. Which is, you know, and not to mention the little tease they gave us for season 11 is that masterworking and tempering are going to be, you know, messed with, and hopefully, you know, more favorable to actually interact with the systems. So I don't know, like season 10 is looking pretty good in my opinion. The big thing for me is the fact that Chaos Armor allows for like more diversity in the options, to the point where, you know, it might be enough to like actually keep me interested longer than like 2 or 3 weeks. Of course, like I said, I'll probably be playing Druid as usual. In fact, I actually looked at like playing Tornado, because the way the Tornado changes are affecting the Druid looks fun. Like it, because that's always been my biggest thing, is like Tornado's like cool, but it didn't really feel good to use because I could never position Tornado to actually do anything. But they're changing Tornado behavior for Druid to actually, you know, just, you know, lock on enemies better and drag enemies, and, you know, doing some stuff. So I don't know. It's anyway, things are looking pretty good. So season 10 is definitely a hype for me. I'm definitely interested to see how it plays and see what happens. I'm curious if there will be major like accessibility changes. I doubt there will be, because honestly, Diablo is in like a 98-99% accessible state. Like, there's the only thing that's really missing is like instance-based content navigation assistance for blind people. That's really the biggest thing. Aside from that, I can't really think of anything, to be honest. Aside from like quality of life stuff of like, you know, let's say like reading health for enemies, you know, little things like that. Anyway, so the optional welcome back blister. The other thing I want to mention is like MKV is kind of just chilling, right? We don't really have a new update or anything going on there. Street Fighter don't care as much, you know, for sure. I've never really cared that much about Street Fighter. You know, no shooter, like, you know, to be honest, like Diablo is the big thing I'm looking forward to, because the new season's out, right? New season's coming up, new stuff coming up. So I'm hyped for it. Hopefully you guys are too. I'm planning on trying to get some Aguirus and Darius video out and showing what that team is kind of good. I don't know about like best team, but I definitely really like it. But yeah, so just want to catch up on like what I saw with Diablo's stream yesterday, and the fact the bosses are changing so that you have the actual like skill check or damage check of like the force field or shield. That's pretty cool. The Inferno Hordes itself, like, it looks like, the thing I do like is that the Inferno Hordes, it looks like it's not going to take like, oh, just grab Hellborn. Now it looks like it doesn't matter what you do, like you'll probably gain enough ether to do some stuff or open the chests, and so, you know, it feels a little more accidentally accessible, if you want to call it that. You know, by proxy of, hey, you can do more stuff in general. I'm trying to think, like, there's the major things is the Chaos Armor, the Inferno Hordes, and like class stuff, right? Those are the main things I can think of. So, yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully you guys, you know, I'm curious what you guys think about the content, about Diablo 4 coming back a bit. Hopefully, if I can find the time to record or stream it. And then, of course, you know, MK stuff. Like, I still have fun with MK. Obviously, I'm about to hit my 2000th hour in the game, so I, you know, clearly still love it and play it. But yeah, I'm just curious what's going on with you guys. You know, what do you guys think about Diablo? Season 10. I am definitely on the hype train about it, I guess, if you want to call it that. I know I don't sound hype, but I'm a very monotone person, so can't really do much about that. It's about it.